Should see what it looks like in front of me, though.
There we go. What's up, Paranormal Nation? Gary Hootenholla here. Welcome to the kickoff season of the Spooktacular podcast show, right here from New York. With me, I got our co-hosts. We got a brand new crew coming in this season. We got Tommy Oddity, who you all know. What's up, Tom?
Hey.
And then we got Carnan. What's going on, Carnan?
Hi, everybody.
We are so stoked to have everybody here as we kick off the new season, all right? So normally, you know us from, the NYPS radio show where me and Kenny talk Bigfoot all day long and, cryptids in New York. But now we're switching it back up and we're going to start talking about ghosts, legends, UFOs, aliens, psychics, all sorts of weirdness, vampires, werewolves, and all the fun stuff that isn't really cryptid in nature, but there's so much weirdness and so much like these awesome stories to talk about and people's experiences. I find personally from doing paranormal research now for about 27 years that the ghost stories that we get, even though they're like a lot of them are alike in a lot of ways, there's just always those different ones that you still makes you scratch your head in because you're just like, it just doesn't logically make sense. But then you witness it yourself and you're just like, I don't know. That's where you're left with it. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is how people get into the paranormal. I want Paranation to, meet our new co-host. You guys met Tommy last year a little bit as we talked about vampires and things. But get to know them a little bit and how they got into the paranormal, because each of us as people in the paranormal get into it differently for whatever our reasons are. So we're going to get right to it. So we'll start with Tom. What's up, Tom?
Hey, not much.
So tell Paranation a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. All right. Well, paranormal investigator, classically trained chef, artist. I enjoy playing music. I enjoy researching old history. I enjoy walking around Troy, Lansingburg, or any city and just photographing old buildings, either if they're falling down or they're in perfect condition. Honestly, I like being outside. And I like cats. A lot.
Gotta love cats. There's nothing wrong with cats.
Oh, I love cats.
Cat people are cool. We're animal friendly here.
Yeah.
And Carnan, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I feel like that's going to be hard to beat, Tom. That was like,
well,
it was a lot. I'm
go
not that
for it.
good.
I still win.
So I come from a medical background. I'm a nurse, primarily love trauma, ER. I'm a mom, 3 kids, love nature, and really just any chance at this point that I can get to relax, peace and quiet at this stage.
Yeah, that's where you're at as you get older. You just want that nice peace.
Yeah.
Life's all about peace after a while and the craziness. But that's why we do this, right? Because even though we try to get the peace in our regular life, then we do the weirdness on the other side that gives us that kind of adrenaline rush of, at least I have peace over here, but where's the weirdness over here? You know what I mean?
And
So-
oddly enough, I feel like this weirdness makes a really good balance as far as giving me some peace at the same time.
Oh yeah, because you're doing something you love.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you're doing something you love. All right. So myself, I'm Gary Hootenholla. All right. People that know me, I run the Tri-City NYPS Paranormal Society, owner of the New York Bigfoot Society. Been a paranormal guy for about 27 years now, getting old now. And that's about it. That's all you need to know about me. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So let's get right into it. So Tom, what got you into the paranormal? Like what was that Oprah aha moment where you're like, whoa, what is this?
Oprah.
Oprah. Gotta love some Oprah. Oprah is she owns everything.
Yeah, she is basically Disney. So yeah, what got me into the paranormal? Well, I mean, I've been into this since I was a kid. You know, I think what really got it started was my parents would always have it. We would do like movie nights, and generally they would pick like horror films. So I got my exposure to horror films through them. Um, you know, from there, you know, I learned the word ghost and zombie and this and that, and then you know, that really started it. But then what really got me into the actual, you know, the real thing was just experiences that my family members had throughout our childhoods up to our adulthoods. And, you know, I always wondered, like, you know, well, did they really, yeah, I had that analytical mind to begin with. Like, you know, did they really have that happen? You know, I would try to explain it away because I was afraid of what they told me they experienced. So I didn't want to, you know, go to bed one night and think that I'm going to see this apparition or I'm going to see this thing come out from under my bed, you know. So then I just started researching the stuff from there, and there's just history from there. You know, there's experiences, of course. I mean, I can get into those after Carnan explains what got her into the paranormal. But yeah, that's pretty much the catalyst for it.
Very cool. And like everybody, we all get into it for our own different reasons. And Carnan, like how did you get into all this weirdness that we call the paranormal?
So, I mean, ever since I was, you know, old enough to remember, you know, I had my first experience, I guess. You know, and it was at an age where I don't really even think I understood what the term like paranormal was. You know, I wasn't even of like kindergarten yet. So, you know, from that point on, I, you know, was just extremely fascinated. I kept having these experiences, right? Which comes with the territory and being sensitive, as I have learned now. And, you know, oddly enough, like Tom said, like the house that we grew up in had a lot of activity, but it seemed as though like our whole family lineage has just a history of, well, actually more so my father than anybody else, but just has a long history of, you know, paranormal experiences, encounters, I guess. So as I got old enough, I just was more anxious to learn what exactly was going on. Like, is this actually a normal phenomena? We just don't understand it yet. And, you know, validation, I think, also is a huge piece as far as being able to recreate or experience again in hopes to get rid of the fact that maybe I'm just crazy.
And that's the thing is like, you know, as we're growing up and, you know, we experience these things, especially as like young people, you know, even for myself, you know, I experienced things at a very young age that you literally just don't know how to process it. Right. And then B, you know, we do feel crazy. Like, you know, you're sitting there talking to deceased people that you shouldn't even know exist. Other than stories that you may hear through family or whatever, and then they're literally staring at you and trying to get that across to parents or guardians or grandparents. It literally just makes you sound like you're crazy, like you have a make-believe friend, you know, as a lot of families used to always talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people, especially, you come up, back in the old days, a lot of people come from like, not religious families per se, but everybody has some form of belief, right? In one way or another. And every family, even if they don't follow what they are, they try to at least follow something, and in some way, shape, or form. And, so you try to explain these things, and it just is something that they're like, well, you got make believe friends, or make believe friends. And, they want to kind of brush it under the carpet per se, until you hit them with that, like, oh, like, how do you know that? Like, how would you know that? And then you're just like, I told you, I'm not crazy. I am crazy, but I'm not the crazy that you think, so that's kind of where it's at. Awesome. So Tom, get a little bit more into like your stuff.
Yeah, there's like, I think I've only had maybe 3 experiences total that really got me like cranked up to learn what the paranormal is. So one of them, I specifically remember everything about. This one really spooked me. So Carnan was in gymnastics when she was younger, and she had a meet. So my parents went. I didn't go. I stayed behind. At the time, we had a dog. I think we had the 2 cats. So I was downstairs, and I was on the computer just talking to my friends. And right above me was a hallway that my dad built. Right? There was an addition onto the house. So as I'm sitting there, I heard what sounded like just heavy footsteps walking across. Not so much like hurried, but, with a little motivation in the step, to like, as if someone may have like forgotten their keys or something. But it was very heavy. So I looked outside thinking it was my dad. Their cars were gone. So, and it was just so profound. It was like, it wasn't the house settling. It wasn't a sound from outside. This was right above me. So needless to say, I got out of that room and I went upstairs, of course, where the sound was coming from. But I wanted to check to make sure, there was no one else in the house. Their bedroom door was closed because it was footsteps going from the living room down to their bedroom. And it stopped right at the door. So I knew how long the hallway was. I've heard people go, or my parents, go back and forth in that hallway. So this just went one way towards the door, and that was it. That scared me. You fast forward, my parents' last house, which used to be, what do they call them? Like a hotel in the 1800s, a carriage stop. So one year summer, they went to South Carolina. Everybody went. The only person who didn't go was my sister Allie. She had to work, so I stayed at the house all week. I remember I was making lunch, and my sister came home. She said hi. She went upstairs. She got her stuff. She left to go to work. So I hear the door close. I see her go away, and I'm standing there continuing on with my lunch prep, and I hear the door open and someone say hello, but it was like in the tone that you would answer your phone. So I thought it was her, but it sounded male, so it was really weird. I turned around, she wasn't there. So I said, hi. Well, she must have went really quickly upstairs then. So I went upstairs. Her bedroom door was open. So I texted her and I said, hey, did you just come home? She said, no. I go, well, your bedroom door is open, and I heard someone come in and say hello. She goes, no, my door was closed. I'm like, it's open. So that scared me. And then those experiences, I've had so many more, but those are the ones that really come to mind. It seems like I mainly hear sounds. I don't see things, but I hear the sounds, and I get the weird feelings. Now, whether if those feelings are a paranormal energy or those feelings are just because I was alone and I was, a little nervous, I don't know. But I was on high alert enough to hear something behind me. And it wasn't a voice that I was familiar with. But, I guess I wouldn't be familiar with anything paranormal that wanted to communicate with me. as of right now, that's all I can really think of. If I think of something else profound, I'll gladly talk about it. But those really got me intrigued on it, and I started watching the shows more, which is a big mistake on my part, because then I start seeing the way they do things, and then when I research it, it's completely different. So I started doing research into my parents' property, and I did extensive research into that, which even led me to another story, but I'll tell that after Carnan, because she really has something to do with it. That was just what blew my mind, and I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I really want to become part of a team with people other than people I know who believe in paranormal, the people who actually study it, who use a scientific method towards it. So I guess it's just a little bit of everything in my life that happened, all led to getting into weirdness.
Yeah. Oh, we lost. Whoop, Carn's coming back. Hold on. There we go.
So you're acting like
There
a
we
ghost.
go. We got her back. Now the
There we
ghost
go.
took you
All right,
away.
I'm rogue here.
I get my voice recorder. Because
All
you're
right,
going in
Carnan.
like a ghost.
Carnan, what got you deeper into this?
So, my first experience, is what really did it for me, which would have been again, probably, before kindergarten or so. I woke up, went to get out of bed. And as I went to get out of bed, there was, a full bodied apparition, couldn't see through it. I remember feeling like comforted, in a way, but it was an old man. He was bald, and he was sitting Indian style on the floor next to the bed. And when I had, swung over to get out, he kind of just like turned his head and looked at me. He had big old metal glasses, like I can see it like it was just, today. And it's like, what the hell was that? So at that point, it obviously jogged my interest that like there's something going on here. What did I see? And then also another experience that I really don't share with people, because it's not your typical paranormal experience, but to me, it was an experience and I don't quite understand it. It was probably, I couldn't put a time frame on when it happened. I told Tom this, like, I don't remember waking up and being like, oh, I had a dream, or, this happened, or at this point in time. I just have this memory of being like in the sky, which sounds super weird. But it was like I was not in my body. It was my consciousness, like I was aware. And it was like I was a ball of light. And I remember entering the house that we lived in. Which I was born there as well. But I remember like entering through the bedroom window and then like into the bedroom and like settling in my body. And it was odd, but like, I don't remember if it was, was I a toddler? Like, I couldn't tell you. It's just a memory that I have, that really sticks with me. But I do know, I had to have been really young at that point.
Those are like two really cool stories. I mean, so now let's even go into this deeper. So obviously that's how you got into the paranormal, right? Mm-hmm. But then as you got older, what really now piqued your interest to continue to do this? So, I mean, you could have had these experiences and you've been like, all right, I have my experiences, and continued to go away. But it's not gone any further than you did. But Tom, like, what got you to keep going?
So go ahead, Tom. You go.
It was just more extensive research, and more experiences that family members had. I mean, what got me more? Yeah, it's actually a good question, because there's just so much that got me going to where I continued to research it. Okay. Well, what I told you when we lost Carnan quick. So there was a house that was on the same road as my parents' old home where I heard the voice. It was built in 1840. It was a farmhouse. So the story goes, and there is a police report of it. I think this was like 1860, 65. The farmer who lived with his daughter, she was 50 years old. He left the property to do business in Cohoes. So while she was alone, an intruder breaks in who just got out of prison for stealing horses. And, he's trying to sneak his way through the house. She catches him. He kills her, slits her throat, does all. I think I've probably told this story before on here. And he hides her body, and then, everything from there. He was hung. End of story. So my sister she knew the two girls that lived in that home, and she would go over there, and she would tell us that she would see this woman who was not their mom. And I don't remember where'd you say you saw her?
At the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, okay.
It led into the kitchen.
All right. So at the time of her death, she was in the kitchen. So, I mean, it could have been that she ran out of that room and was killed, struck down right there where she saw the apparition. Who knows? So, and she had told me this story before. So then when I was doing my extensive research into the Dunsback area of Cohoes, I came upon that, and that just seemed like pretty close to what Carnan's witnessed. So that right there, I was like sold at that point. Like, okay, she's got some kind of ability. She just hit the nail on a historical help me out, a historical anyway, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, that just made me, and then I did more research into it, and then I started learning about PK energy and residual haunting, and I believe what she experienced was the residual imprint of the event that took place. Historical event, that's what I was looking for. And then my main focus into the paranormal has been understanding how residual energy works. And then from there it's just been, and that's why, when we go to Groom's Tavern, that's what I'm looking for. I don't care much to know if there is a conscious energy there. Life after death, I'm not so into it. Residual, psychokinetic, telekinetic energy, yes. That, I believe, is what science is going to prove first. And I'd like to get my knowledge up so when they do prove it, I can say, aha, I knew it.
All right.
And have no credit for it.
All right, Carnan, what about you?
So obviously, like, as the years went on, I just kept having these experiences.
We lost her. Hold
Per
on.
se,
There we go.
especially with, like, my family, the more I learned that this is something that, they've also experienced, or at least one of them, like I said, my father. And I think really, like, those continuous events that I was experiencing kind of kept the drive going, as far as, like, okay, at this point, I know I'm not crazy. And to be honest, I just, like, had this deep passion for it. Like, I gained this deep passion for wanting to understand, what exactly is happening. And, I think over time, what has kept my interest at, now at this point, is that the more that I learn, the weirder it gets. And then you change your ideas and you change your perspective. And then, and then like along comes like an aha moment. When you start getting into ufology or cryptids, etc. The more that I've researched and the more I've experienced, the more that I've learned that all of these things are like tied together in the weirdest way. And it's really just that, like the constant learning, those aha moments, those new experiences, putting the puzzle together, is really just what keeps me going with this. I just love it. I just feel like there's so much that there is to learn about our world and our universe, all of which may be very normally occurring things. But again, we don't know. I just think it's crazy to assume that, like with this whole universe and, how large is space? Like we don't even know pretty much like how big, like it's ever expanding. Like how can we say for sure that we're the only things out there? Like how can we say for sure that there's no parallel universes that are 100% normal? We just don't understand, and we're getting these blips, and I'm all about it. It's just the more experiences I have, the more I want to know.
That's cool. All right. So Tom, like what is your favorite part of the paranormal? Like what do you enjoy most about it?
Honestly, is conducting research into a location that maybe I'm not familiar with, or maybe I am familiar with. And once I find the answers, like the story I told, once I find the answers to validate either my experience or someone else's experience, that's those aha moments. And, I'm just like floored and ready to go. Like I really look forward to Groom's Tavern every month. I wish we were doing it more than once, because that's almost like a classroom in a way. We're going there, we're learning I'm sure every time we go there, things are going to happen that are different from the time before. And that's what's cool, is that you can't recreate it. If you could recreate it, you're going to lose your interest, because, okay, I know that I can cause the door in the upstairs room at Groom's to slam shut just by asking the entity to do it. Whatever, then from there, it's just going to be like, okay, yeah, I've done that. I don't care. But it's like, it's just that thing that doesn't happen over and over. And that's what really gets me going with it. And just learning about it, coming up with my own ideas, my own theories, my own experiments. I've tried the role playing at Groom's Tavern, and I plan to do that the next time. I think that's a very effective way to get energy stirred up, especially if there's intelligent energy there. Why not? Residual can't interact, so therefore it's not going to do anything other than what it does every time it plays out. Yeah, that's it. There's, these are really hard questions, because there's so much that that I love about it, what gets me going for it. I'm only giving you probably like 1% of what really gets me going. And also, I'm just a freaking weirdo. So, I've always liked the dark stuff, vampires, werewolves, yeah, that kind of stuff, gothic horror. I've loved all of it, because the paranormal is something that has been around like since the beginning of time, the beginning of humans. You see it in cave drawings, you see it in Egyptian writing, you see it even in like the Old Testament. There are, and I read on that too, there are paranormal experiences that people claim to have had. And it's just something I think that interests everybody. Even the most hardened non-believer is curious about the other side, so to speak.
What about you, Carnan? What do you love about it?
God, it's such like Tom said, a hard to pinpoint like one area of what I love about it.
What's your favorite part? Like what keeps you, I mean, we can dissect it down, but I mean, what's like your favorite part of it?
I guess I would have to say, I guess like just the adrenaline of diving into something that's unknown, you know. I feel like so many people, you know, shoo away the paranormal, whether it be because of a, you know, a belief thing, or there's a fear factor. You know, and it's an area that a lot of people, they don't like to dive into, or it's like, you know, it's played out. Like they like to watch about it, but not really learn about it. And I just think diving into the unknown, which that's exactly what it is. You know, people can have theories all day. It's all subjective. We don't know what it is. And it's just that. It's learning the unknown, learning things that I can experience for myself, rather than, you know, like reading in a textbook, or, you know, somebody telling me something, you know, specific. It's like I get to be a part in my own way in figuring out what's going on.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, there's so many ways we can dissect what our favorite parts of the paranormal are. But like I say, we can't do that all in one show. We got to make sure we have lots of shows. So we got to slowly
Right.
just use that a little bit at a time. All right. So for our last question, so let's, you know, we're gonna finish up strong. So what are your favorite places? Like, you know, we all have favorite places that we like to kind of tinker around in, and it doesn't have to be what we've done now. Obviously, it could be anywhere. So, you know, Tom, like, what is one of your favorite places that always drew you to that?
Old places.
But
Like,
like, do you have a favorite place? Not just like, you know, is there like a certain old place? Is there like a certain cemetery, let's say? Is there a certain something, or is it like you say, or is it just a bunch of different things?
yeah, just a bunch. I would say I mean, I can't access the property now, but I always enjoyed going over to my parents' home because I knew there was stuff going on there, and every time I'd stay over, I'd be like, you know what? I'm scared of it, but I want to experience something. I want to see if you can validate their experiences through research and through my own. Um, I love going to their house, but in general, I like going anywhere. Honestly, I mean, like I said, there's a really an old schoolhouse from the 1800s. It was closed in 1970, called the Haskell School in Lansingburg, and I just came upon that the other day when I took a wrong turn. Um, and you know, it's falling down, but when I look at places like schools, hotels, inns, you know, you got to think about all the people that went in and out of those over the course of how many years, you know, and all that energy that's there, if it's still there, that is. Um, you know, and the reason that I really like old places, what really got me into that was learning about stone tape theory, which is just residual hauntings, and that stones can actually imprint energy. So maybe I go to these places thinking if I snap a photo, I'm going to see something in the photo. But I don't go there with the mindset. I just go to take a picture. But I'm just drawn to old, broken down buildings because there's got to be some form of history and energy there. But there's no specific place. The only place I've ever really investigated was just with you guys. You know, I don't go on my free time and do that. I don't know, you know, trespassing and all that. I stay away from it. I wait to go with you guys because with you guys I can learn more. When I'm by myself, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. So it's just a little bit of everything, really.
Cool. Carnan?
So I would have to say that, like, I have to follow along with Tom as far as not having a favorite place that I have been so far. You know, I love all of them, but I think in general, I am more intrigued with going to places or being a part of an investigation on a place where there's evidence of intelligence as opposed to residual, like Tom said. And for me, I think that's just, again, personally, it's more unknown. It's more foreign to me. You know, I feel like when it comes to residual energy. I can wrap my head around it a little bit more when talking about, the fact that, we can't destroy energy, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I understand less about the intelligence piece. So I enjoy aiming for areas where there's evidence of or encounters of more of intelligent beings.
Makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense because you can interact with them too, which
Right.
makes that a whole different realm. All right, so we do have one question, and I'll definitely answer that one. And it's a big one. Showing up. Coming up. Bow. There we go. So basically, the question is from Benjamin. Thank you for writing in. How do people get involved with teams like us? Find like-minded people, get access to these areas that we're very lucky to able to get into, and things like that. They've investigated the Shanley, which is a great place. We investigated it way back in the day, and then even Myrtle's plantation they did, which that had to be pretty cool because those plantation buildings alone are just cool. And I can pretty much sum that up to there's different avenues that you can investigate. To us, to become part of kind of what we do, we hold events all over the capital region where you can come meet us. They're ghost hunting events. You pay to come ghost hunt with us. The money fully goes to the charity that we're working with, usually a historical organization. And you can meet us and then you can hang out with us. We do have open enrollment once a year that we kind of bring some new people in, test the water, see if you mesh well with what we're looking for, and that's kind of how we do it. I mean, every group is different. There's plenty of different groups that are out there that are always looking for people and things. For myself, I can tell you that I'm all about the vibe of a team. They'll both tell you that my team is made up of all different personalities. So, we may agree to disagree 90% of the time, which is totally cool because that's how you learn, and keeps you pushing forward. So, in my opinion. So, once again, that's kind of how you get more involved with professional paranormal teams, as we like to call them, I guess, is, they have a lot of Facebook pages you can go to. You can talk to a lot of them. They'll, message them. A lot of times they'll talk to you, things like that if they're not busy. Also, you need to also remember, though, it depends on what they're doing in their real life. We do have real lives out of this. So, we don't always get back to everybody in a timely manner because, we have real life to live. This is a hobby for us. This isn't a job. So a lot of times people need to realize that. When a lot of teams I've seen in the past, and kind of we were talking a little bit before, that they become so obsessed with the paranormal that it's like their whole reality escapes them and they just sucked right into the paranormal, which if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But as far as we're concerned, we find it better that we can actually live our real lives and do this on the side in a professional way. So hopefully that helps. Just go through the Facey space, find a bunch of different teams. If you're interested locally, feel free to watch when we have events come up, which that will be happening very soon. And you can come visit us, hang out with us. And then, when we do open enrollment, just let us know. Cool beans.
Cool.
All right. Any last words, Tom?
No.
Oh, dang.
No, not really. I'm looking at the comments here. There are a few just little things. First off, hi Brandy, love you, miss you. That's our sister. So my buddy Brandon, he mentioned this place in Salem. It was the Lyceum restaurant that's no longer there, but that home used to be, or that building used to be Bridget Bishop's home, who was she was tried and hung because nothing grew on her property. She was believed to be a witch. And him and I we went in there one day, and because we knew the story, and we asked one of the workers, does anything paranormal happen? And if so, where is that? She told us that a lot of it would be upstairs, where it'd be like where they would hold big parties. They didn't say what that room was in the old days, but They actually allowed us to go up there and just stay there as long as we wanted. You know, we didn't have tools and this and that to measure anything, but we just went up, got a feel for the vibe. Nothing happened. We left. But that was another one that I'm glad he actually brought that up, because that was another reason why what actually got me into going to Salem was all of the history, all that nasty history that happened there. You know, that's just a mecca for anything paranormal. You know, and the people there, you know, that they embrace it, which is nice. It's actually nice that you can go to a city and not feel like an outcast because you believe in ghosts, or you believe in psychic power, or you believe in anything paranormal. It's a beautiful place. You can talk to anybody about anything. They will never tell you that, you know, you're effing crazy. So that's a really cool place. That's a place that, to answer your question before, that's another place that really got me intrigued.
Very cool. Carnan, any last words before we get out of here?
I mean, I guess just any advice for people who, you know, are interested and they want to get out on their own and really dive into the paranormal would just be to do your research. You know, I guess understand that it's a whole world that you don't know, you know, so being respectful, I guess keeping an open mind and recognizing that nobody has the answers, and just embracing the weird, you know, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Embrace the weird. Love it. Just make sure that you're prepared and do your research.
All right, Paranation, you heard it. So you met our brand new co-host Carnan and Tommy Oddity. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back in the next, I think, what we say, 3 weeks from now,
3 weeks.
right?
Yeah.
3 weeks from now, we'll be back for our next show. We will have a topic for you soon. Don't know what that's going to be. For all you cryptid and Bigfoot people out there, tomorrow night, the NYPS radio show is back with myself and Kenny W. Irish, #1 Amazon author of American Cryptids. We'll be talking with Mike Lucy from the Cartoon Catskill, was it Catskill Appalachian Collective? There we go. Research Collective. And we'll be talking all things Bigfoot in New York, all things Bigfoot in the Catskills. Until then, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon. Thank you, Paranation. Deuces, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.